in WSL Soccer. Running through the lineups once again for you. For Seattle, it's Kottmeyer in goal, Cox, Barnes, Corsi, and Reed across the back, Winters, Brooks, and Fishlock in midfield, Yanez, Little, and Vi up top. For Washington, Weiss in goal, Reynolds, Johnson, Oyster, and Church across the back, Salem, the captain Nairn, and Lohman in midfield, and Del Rio, Dunn, and DaCosta up top. Seattle wearing those very distinctive purple uniforms with the gold on the shoulders, neon green, if you will. Posing for their team photo, the Spirit getting one final word of instruction from Mark Parsons, who enters looking for his 18th win as Spirit head coach after taking over in the middle of the 2013 campaign. And he's had good success against this Seattle squad, as this is the 9th time these two teams have played, but just the 3rd time they've played in Maryland. The first game, if you remember, the one of the best atmospheres I've seen here at the Plex, the Fox Soccer Channel National Televised game that Diana Matheson won with a strike in the 83rd minute. And I thought that was a game that really set the tone for last year's playoff run. And then the only time these two met here last year, back on August the 19th, the 1-1 tie, it was Matheson again in the 29th minute, and then a late strike from Kim Little, getting the Reign a share of the points. But, of course, the most notable matchup between these two was the playoff game last year. The Reign, as the #1 seed, came back from a goal down to defeat the 4th-seeded Spirit 2-1, as Veronica Perez strike in the 65th minute was met by a penalty kick from Kim Little in the 72nd minute, and then Megan Rapinoe, as she is wont to do, scoring a great goal in the 82nd minute to get Seattle into the final, where they eventually lost to FC Kansas City. Ceremonial first kick being taken right now, and Diana Matheson already pressed into service for the first time this year to receive this pass. She's shy. And there we go. Hand and a high five from Diana Matheson. And will she figure into tonight's match? She's been a Seattle killer over the last couple of years. She's scored 5 goals and passed out 1 assist in 7 career games against Seattle. Of course, one of the reasons she's not starting tonight probably is just fitness. She's only played 1 match since tearing that ACL last fall for Canada, made an appearance late, and Canada's lost to England in the Women's World Cup, as she really battled hard to come back from that injury in time to play in a World Cup in her home country. With the Reign kicking off here, going from left to right here in the first half. And away we go. Tonight's action presented by Coons of Silver Spring, underway as Laura Del Rio gets a quick steal for Washington just behind midfield and goes in the center for Angela Salem. Spirit off last week after a disappointing 3-0 loss at FC Kansas City 2 weekends ago, and looked like a team in need of that break as injuries, fatigue, thinned Mark Parsons' options a little bit, but the return of Matheson, Grasso getting an extra week or 2 of acclimation to the team after being signed from Australia, the return of Catherine Reynolds from injury, Spirit close to a full deck, and they'll have everybody for Chicago next week. Here's Megan Oyster with the switch for Johnson, and off the mark, and a unforced error will give the Reign a throw in 50 seconds in. Up comes the Danish international Vi. She'll leave it for Reed to take the throw in. Ellery Reed started on the outside for Seattle in their first handful of games, but Rachel Corsi's arrival in the U.S. forced her into a substitute role, although she did start and play very well in right midfield last week in that 4-2 win over Western New York as that ball goes out. But with Fletcher out with a concussion, Reed's back in a more familiar outside back spot tonight. Reynolds gets a touch back from Del Rio. Goes towards the 18 for Estelle Johnson. High line of pressure from Seattle, as you'll see all night. That back four will be pretty consistent, although they will attack. But the five in front of them will change shape at any time. You'll see Little sometimes as that point. Yanez at times as Del Rio with a nifty touch up on Loman on the left side. Chip now into space, and Crystal Dunn, the league leader in offsides, is caught again. Rain will take possession of their 18 as Corsi drops it back to Haley Kottmeyer, who's filled in more than admirably for Hope Solo. Rain haven't lost, as I mentioned earlier, with her in goal. Johnson will knock it out for a throw for Reed. Fishlock, the Welsh international, dropping it back for Brooks. Now Barnes. Completes the job left for Stephanie Cox, former U.S. international, with a left-footed ball in. It's a good one towards Fishlock. Now it'll drift towards the far post and past Little, who was marked there by Reynolds. A goal kick for Kelsey Weiss, who also has filled in very well with a U.S. international away. Ashlyn Harris has been well replaced by Kelsey Weiss, who comes in with a 1.63 goals against average in her 8 starts. 1 clean sheet. That was against FC Kansas City. Correction, that was against Sky Blue FC, the 1-0 game that Ordega won with the late goal. Vi can't keep that in play, and Laura Harvey showing off the skills there with a little juggle touch to Catherine Reynolds. Header won by Amber Brooks for Seattle. Now it's Del Rio on the second ball, dropping it for Oyster. Salem Winters gets a piece of it. Knocked long by Cox into space, looking for Kim Little. Oyster chasing that one down. She'll get to it first and knock it out for a throw in. Better safe than sorry. Little turning. Marked tightly by Church. Ball inside from Cox towards Fishlock. And that forces Weiss to come off her line as Estelle Johnson stood her ground well to not allow Fishlock to get a clean pass to that ball. But as I said earlier, you'll see that interchange where sometimes Fishlock is the player farthest up at the point of the attack. Sometimes it's Little. Sometimes it's Yanez. Very unpredictable for a defense. Good switch left from Kelsey Weiss to pick out Del Rio. Making the run up the line is Loman. Del Rio chooses to go inside instead. Angela Salem now with a touch, playing it left-footed through. Touched back by Cox and Koppmeyer with a right-footed clearance towards midfield. Won by Oyster, and the Spirit will keep possession. Nairn wearing the armband today. We'll switch it for Oyster. On a hot day like this, it's not a terrible thing to have the likes of Tori Huster, Diana Matheson available as second-half subs to refresh this match. As you figure, the pace is going to drag at times. These are two teams that are very methodical with possession, but with the heat, they're probably not going to push things to the pedal too much. Estelle Johnson for Reynolds. Gets it back. Plays it on the floor for Del Rio. Shielding against Amber Brooks and playing it wide and too far for the run of Reynolds. A throw for Ellie Reed in the rain here in the 6th minute. Little, dropping it back for Reed. The line unblocked by Del Rio, and the Rain will try again in front of the Spirit bench. Del Rio knocks it out again. Quicker throw this time for Vi. Touchback for Reed. And again, Del Rio. This time the Rain will mix it up with a run in from Fishlock, but she can't find the handle and it's stolen away by the Spirit. Salem in traffic will play it for Nair. Now in the box. Cleared by Estelle Johnson forward. Headed by Lohman. And Reed stepping up to win that ball. Back for Brooks. You can see Seattle, as usual, pressing high. They had 7 players across midfield pressuring that ball. Left it comes for Stephanie Cox. Inside looking for Yanez and cleared by Megan Oyster. Oyster's college coach Amanda Cromwell will be our halftime guest tonight. Of course, coached both Oyster and Caprice Didasco for the Bruins, won a national championship after coming over from coaching for more than a decade at Central Florida. Of course, has a gold medal with the U.S. as well from 1996 and part of that 95 World Cup team, so we'll talk to her about the feeling of redemption, something that Allie Krieger, Ashlyn Harris, and gang know well. Ball over the top for Fishlock. Back for Vi. Good touch inside on her left. Cross towards the far post. Too tall for Yanez's run. And she'll let it roll for a throw. The thing about Seattle pressing so high, definitely you're going to get a lot of rewards from that, but there's also risks. If the Spirit can spring Crystal Dunn and get a counter, that's going to be trouble. Fishlock touching it back for Ellie Reed. Reed thinking about the right-footed ball, instead goes up the line for Vi, and Reynolds sniffs that out, and we'll have yet another throw-in in front of the Spirit bench. Rachel Corsi, the Scottish international, square for Lauren Barnes. Finishes the job left for Cox. Nicely weighted ball, forcing Church to defend, and the rookie out of Penn State will play for Megan Oyster. DaCosta for Lohman. Stolen away now. It's Cox on the ball for Seattle. Short for Kim Little. Defending MVP goes left. Yanez. Overlapping is Little. Marked by DaCosta coming back from her forward position. And she'll drop it again for Cox. Little will try again against DaCosta. 2 players that probably clashed in England there for a while as Little played for Arsenal before coming stateside, and DaCosta for Liverpool. Great rivalry, male or female. Cox. Little, broken up well by Church, who finds DaCosta. Nair now, former Seattle player, traded in the offseason before the 2014 season, and along with Nairn in that trade were the rights to Kim Little. A trade that's benefited both clubs. Del Rio touching it for herself, trying to run it down the edge of the box, and Corsi comes crashing in to knock it out for a throw. Spirit able to get some bodies forward here in the 10th minute as Catherine Reynolds will jog up to take the throw. Goes for Del Rio, headed out by Reed, and we'll try again. Throw-in defense, definitely a strength for both these teams early. Dunn trying to turn on a dime. Good cross towards the far post, but too far for DaCosta. And Cox will let it roll for a throw-in, but Crystal Dunn didn't have a lot of space to make that work, but did it. Got the cross off. Yanez shooting against Church. Good defending there from Whitney Church to win the ball and find Angela Salem. Nairn. DaCosta will drop it back. Church will try again. Good turn there from Angela Salem. Broken up on the way through, and it will be a Spirit throw. Church wanted to take it, but Lemon said, no, I got it. I'm just going to throw it back to you anyway. And Church will continue the job behind midfield for Megan Oyster. Reynolds chesting it down. Shooting against Vi and dropping it for Johnson. And now Little on her heels forces the pass back. And Weiss will just hit it clear. Flicked on by Del Rio. Dunn on the move now. Laura Harvey wants a call. She's not going to get it. Dunn at the top of the 18. Cutting back. Now laying it out for DaCosta, and she's offside. Great promising attack there from the Spirit. Foiled by the flag. And a free kick for Seattle. Here it is again, and tough to tell from that angle, but it looked like DaCosta might have been just a step off. Referee's assistant was in a good position to see it. Church unable to keep that alive, and a Seattle throw will be the result here in the 12th minute. No score here, no real chances to speak of. Seattle has had the majority of the possession, but really haven't gotten behind the Spirit's back four yet to threaten Kelsey Weiss at all. Crystal Dunn, as usual, has popped up in a couple spots for Washington. Hit long, looking for Vi, won by the charging Reynolds, flicked on by Lohman, and all the way through for Kottmeyer to try again. She'll immediately drop that at her feet. Coming back for it is Little, and she's offside. Came well back when that ball was kicked to pick it off, and free kick will come Washington's way. Both teams taking these set pieces quickly when they're in their own end. They want to keep possession, build something, and go from there. Steal, though, by Fishlock. Has Little in support. We'll play it for the defending MVP. Back again for Fishlock, broken up by DaCosta coming back, and now Johnson will drop it for Weiss. So we've seen Amanda DaCosta called in to defend quite a bit for Washington out of that right forward position. She's done it well. Switch for Del Rio. Kept alive by her head, but did go out of bounds on second reflection, and it will be a Seattle throw. Steamy evening here in Boyd's, Maryland, here at Maureen Hendricks Field at the Maryland SoccerPlex, and no goals to speak of, but as usual with these two clubs, it's been entertaining so far. Here's Cox for Fishlock. Left it comes, and now drop back again. Switch almost picked off by Del Rio, and she sees it's going to be a tough play, and she lets it go. Looked out at the Spirit bench. They take this throw, and good to see Allie Krieger and Ashlyn Harris a part of the festivities. And Krieger, you know, dressed normally, T-shirt and jeans. Ashlyn Harris has a fantastic hat on. The Crocodile Dundee comparison was made earlier. Christine Nairn. Oyster. Off the chest of DaCosta, stolen away by Seattle. Winters will start the attack. Forced back to Corsi. And now Amber Brooks. Space for Barnes. She'll go left for the veteran Stephanie Cox. Inside now for Yanez. Time and space for Winters to pick out Kim Little. So is it down for her fellow Scotswoman Corsi. Now it's Brooks. Switching it behind Cox, and throw will come the Spirit's way in the 16th minute. Oyster. Johnson, Salem, Reynolds, and back in for Estelle Johnson. Nairn showing for the ball. Going left now for Reynolds. Salem. Nice switch into space for Amanda DaCosta. One-on-one against Cox, cuts inside. DaCosta at the edge of the 18, laying it in for Dunn. Dunn turning on Corsi, looking for options in the box. Cutting back on her left foot. Dunn will try the shot, it's deflected, and right to Joanna Lohman, but the flag is up. No goal for Lohman, who scored in the first meeting between these two clubs, and will stay 0-0. What a chance, though, for the Spirit, as Dunn, like a good point guard, circled back, waited to make the pass inside, and nearly pulled it off. Here it is again. Dunn cutting back, as getting the touch in there in the middle was Joanna Lohman as we go live. Reed shielding against both Lohman and Del Rio, and Lohman pokes it away for Del Rio. Switch in the middle, and a foul in a very good position. Nairn territory for the Spirit in the 18th minute. Perfect spot for a left-footed serve. A little bit further from goal than what I expected for this set piece, so I think it will be a cross from Christine Nairn. Tough angle to score from, but Christine Nairn's the kind of player that can pull it off if she wants to. Two-player wall, Vi and Little for Seattle. Everybody in green and purple marking at the edge of the 18. Dunn will step over, Nairn will serve towards the penalty spot and headed over by Del Rio. Spirit coming to life a little bit here midway through the first half. No score, though. Kottmeyer tells Corsi, push up. I'm just going to hit this one long. Taking her time with this goal kick. Lohman wins the header, but right to Yanez, who has her pass blocked by Nairn. Now it knuckles to the feet of Lohman, and Dunn's off to the races again. Trying to shake Corsi and Barnes, and goes down in a tumble. Corsi whistled for the foul, and she will see yellow in the 19th minute. Correction, the card is shown to Corsi, not Barnes, and the first time she's been booked stateside. And again, another good free kick for the Spirit, and you have to figure Nairn's going to want to knock this one on frame. Salem, an option also. Lohman also off to the side, but a 5-player wall for Seattle. Del Rio will also take up residence in that wall, create a lane for Salem or Nairn to shoot through. And it'll be Nairn striking it left-footed off the bar. Still alive. Rising for it, and the header is wide from Joanna Lohman. And the Spirit with another golden opportunity. And they're going to say it was last touched by a Seattle player, and it will be a corner. Christine Nairn. It's what she does. Just inches away from tucking that one under the bar. It was Cox that got the vital header out for Seattle. Corner kick drums building here as it's played short for Salem. Now back for Church. Left off again for Nairn. Right footed ball whipped in and cleared. Second ball handled in the box by Little and knocked out for a throw-in. Christine Nairn wearing that armband with pride tonight, has hit the bar, created some good chances for her teammates off of other set pieces. Vi heading it for Little. Popped up and won by Reynolds. Good turn inside from Crystal Dunn. Knocked off the ball by Fishlock. And now Reed will just knock it clear for another throw-in. Taking quickly for Catherine Reynolds. Salem. Drop back behind midfield for Oyster. She wants to play it quickly and does. Church with a bad touch there, and that allows Cox to steal it and drop it for Barnes. Knocked clear by Winters. Easily won in the air by Megan Oyster. Down for Nairn. She'll get it back from her former Penn State teammate Whitney Church and then drop it for Estelle Johnson. You can just feel the energy level from the Spirit picking up as they've been on the front foot for the last 10 minutes. Chances disallowed twice by the offsides flag and once by the bar on Christine Nairn's free kick a couple minutes ago. Seattle had great possession early, but didn't really threaten Kelsey Weiss. Christine Nairn, dropping it again for Oyster. Fishlock in pursuit, forces it back to Weiss. Tonight's match brought to you by Kunzo Silver Spring, the official automobile partner of the Washington Spirit, and it's been a good one so far. Michael Minnick here with you at the Plex. No goals, but the Spirit have hit the bar through Christine Nairn. A couple of good chances also called back by the offside flag on the far side. Throw will come Seattle's way as the Reign look to extend their 9-game unbeaten streak. The Spirit also on a run of their own. They're 5 unbeaten at home to start this year, the longest such streak in team history. And they've never lost here to Seattle, a win and a draw. Keelan Winters off the turnover, playing it for Brooks. Acquired from Portland in the offseason, Amber Brooks. Made her debut actually for the Thorns last year against the Spirit and had an assist. But she's someone that's more of a player that will hang back and break up play than an attacker. Going to work here against Crystal Dunn. That comes back to Corsi. He was on a yellow. Square for Barnes. Winters shakes one challenge, but is fouled by DeCosta on the way through. The free kick from Lauren Barnes on the way, left-footed, towards the top of the 18. Flicked on by Vi, handled in the box by Reynolds, knocked forward. Brooks goes for the 50-50 header against Lohman, now dropped back by Corsi. Barnes will chip it high into the sky again. Reynolds heading it. Vi chesting it down for Seattle. Bodied up by Salem. Loses Angela Salem, now cuts inside nicely on Reynolds. Chip from Vi towards the middle, just a bit too tall for Yanez, and Kelsey Weiss makes the catch in the end. Great crowd on Spirit Hill behind Estelle Johnson, who's in possession right now. Here's that chance again, and just a little bit too tall for the charging Yanez's head. Would have been tough as well for her to head that ball in frame. Coming from the opposite direction with pressure on her, and Weiss in good position. Sellout crowd, and it looks every bit of it here. As I mentioned, that Spirit Hill looks fantastic behind Kelsey Weiss's goal. Home side here in the shade is full. Away side in the sun is also full. Part of a 3-game homestand for Washington coming off the euphoria of the World Cup. We'll see Kristen Press, Dewey Johnston in Chicago here next week, and then somebody you might have heard of, final hat trick, Carly Lloyd and Houston here in 2 weeks. Oyster heading it down smartly for Church. In the center of the park for the captain, Nairn. Tori Huster available off the bench, the usual wearer of that armband this year. Nairn goes wide right, chested by DaCosta and played inside for Del Rio. Played back again for DaCosta, who's onside. Back again for Dunn, and it's broken up well by Lauren Barnes. Certainly was on for the drop back for for Dunn, but Barnes saw it well, broke it up, and now will have to defend another Spirit attack as Nairn possesses and has her pocket picked by Kim Little. Little with Fishlock to her left, but she's going to take this one herself towards the 18, looking for help. Little at the right edge, dropping it for Vi. On her left foot, cuts back now, broken up well. And tangle here and a whistle. Foul on Vi and a quick restart from the Spirit. Dunn's touch heavy, broken up by Corsi. Vi will tangle with Lohman and dribble it out for a Spirit throw. Mark Parsons telling Joanna Lohman, take a second. Let Reynolds have this throw instead. Shadows creeping in here at Maureen Hendricks Field. It's been a fine night for soccer except for the heat. Blue skies all around. Rio trying the back heel there, but knocking it out for a throw-in instead. All the way back it comes for the 25-year-old out of the University of Michigan, Haley Kottmeyer. Now for Barnes. Whistle there and a foul against Amber Brooks, and Chris Spivey will give her a word. And guess what? It'll be a Christine Nairn free kick. Rain not putting anybody in the wall, using everybody to mark this set piece. Lohman, Church, and Oyster the targets on the left side of the box. Dunn in the middle. Salem a little bit off. Del Rio as well, walking towards the 18. Driven in by Nairn. She went for goal there, and Kottmeyer diving for it. Did not touch it on the way through, but Christine Nairn would have made multiple season highlight reels had she pulled that off. You can definitely tell she's feeling it today after not getting a shot against FC Kansas City 2 weeks ago, the only time this year that Nairn's been held without a shot. That game against FC Casey, the first time in 16 matches, as there's two balls on the field. First time in 16 matches, Christine Nairn was held without a shot. She's more than made up for it today. She's hit the bar. She's been dangerous. So as we resolve the issue of having one too many balls on the field, looks like it's just going to be a drop ball and knocked out by Cox for a Spirit throw-in since they had possession when play was stopped. Now that the pleasantries have sorted out, the Spirit will attack again, but Nairn turns it over. Sliding tackle there and a late whistle there, and Nairn putting her case, but that was a pretty clear foul to me and a free kick for Seattle. 30th minute, no goals to speak of yet, but it's been a good one. Between the two teams in the top half of the table, Seattle comes in a tie for first. Second on tiebreakers to Chicago, and the Spirit in a tie for third. And fourth on tiebreakers with FC Kansas City is Reynolds tugging Vi's shirt and giving away the set piece. And the Danish international with the universal shrug for, I thought that should have been a card. And it is, to Christine Nairn. I think more for pleading her case than for anything that she did on that play. So 31st minute, Nairn, who still hasn't done having a word with Spivey, goes into the book for the third time this year. So yellow alert, I guess, for Nairn in terms of the bookings, as a fifth would suspend her for a game. She has 3 now, so have to be a little bit more careful. But that's part of the job of the captain as well, is to be the speaker to the referee, let him know that your team's not happy with the way things are being called. Christine Nairn might have taken a little bit too much license with that in that particular incident, but set her piece, and now she's back to work. Fishlock. Chip behind Yanez's run will allow Weiss to come and collect. Spirit Squadron in good voice tonight across from me, and they brought all the international flags of the Spirit players that are recognized pre-game for their World Cup service. U.S. flag over there, Canada flag, an Australia flag, and of course a Nigeria flag to go with the Spirit Squadron flag over there. Nairn. Turning and playing it left for Lohman. Making the run through is Christine Nairn. It comes left for Del Rio with Reynolds overlapping. She'll play it for Catherine Reynolds. First time cross is blocked by Ellie Reed off the scoreboard for the Spirit's second corner of the first half. Going back to the yellow for Nairn, sometimes as a player, when you're feeling it, when you really feel like you're playing well, you know, you want to maybe get that booking because you're just into the flow of the game and you're fired up and it's good to see. Salem available short. Church also in the vicinity. We'll see if Christine Nairn chooses to drive this one in towards the four players in red and blue, circling around the right edge of the 18-yard box, looking into the sun, as is the goalkeeper, Kottmeyer. Ball by Nairn, headed out by Seattle, by Yanez. Second chance for Church. She'll go square. And now DaCosta will drop it back for Estelle Johnson. Nairn. Salem. Seattle content to let the Spirit possess in their own half as that pass is run down by Oyster. Over the top it comes for Dunn, who brings it down, loses her footing, and loses possession to Stephanie Cox. Vi wants it at her feet. Reed will oblige her and then pick the back pass up. Reynolds, who's had a good first half, heading it forward for Washington. Picked off by Winters. Now forward for Vi. Broken up by Crystal Dunn cleanly. And played into the center of the park for DaCosta. Stolen though by Barnes, who will start the attack from her center back position. Picked up now by Del Rio. She'll go left for Yanez. Second leading scorer in the league, marked by Whitney Church, and dropping it back. Cox in the center. Brooks dropping it. Now it's the Spirit's turn to drop off a bit and mark and get in passing lanes and not give Seattle anything easy. Winters. Yanez with a heavy touch, slides to keep it alive. Barnes' chip, chested down by Yanez and dropped for Cox. Broken up by DaCosta, and it will be a Seattle throw. Little bump there by Joanna Lohman, and free kick will go Seattle's way. Again, we'll be joined at the half by UCLA head coach Amanda Cromwell. Excited to hear her opinions on tonight's festivities, and as well as the U.S.'s World Cup win 2 weeks ago. She's got a gold medal in her drawer. Serve in from Little towards Brooks at the far post and headed out by Estelle Johnson. Johnson, though, was pushed in the process, and it will be a Spirit free kick. Reed stumbles there, but Chris Spivey, seeing nothing wrong, will play on here as advantage has developed for Fishlock. Broken up partially by Salem. Kim Little. Reed slow to get back on her feet, but now she's back to it, and she immediately gets some work as Fishlock plays it square for her. Winters. Stephanie Cox. Time to tee up the left foot. Plays a nice ball in towards the far post, but too high for Little. Not close enough for Vi, and an easy catch for Kelsey Weiss. Chip forward for Del Rio. One over Reed. Lohman forced back by Winters. A good win by Winters to find Vi in tough spaces. Mark Parsons wants a foul. Not going to get his way there. Time and space for Barnes. Up for Fishlock. Switch for Cox, who's had some good looks on that left flank, overlapping from that left back position. Broken up this time by Whitney Church. Headed forward by Salem, but only as far as Amber Brooks. Little now with space. Inside for Yanez. Laid off for Fishlock. Great combination, but blocked by Estelle Johnson. And it knuckles out for a corner. Really good layoff there, and Johnson with some good recognition there to block the chance from Fishlock. Kim Little over to take it, as is Cox. Weiss with a little bit less of a glare to deal with than Kottmeyer had on the other side of the field. Pretty much shadows for the former Florida State Seminole to look at. Left-footed serve from Cox. Driven in nicely, headed on by Fishlock, but nobody home at the far post, and Winters will come out to collect for Seattle. Up the line it comes for Vi. Cross in deflected by Lohman, and we'll do it again from the other side. Same combo coming over there, Little and Cox for Seattle. Del Rio and DaCosta marking short for the Spirit also to make this more difficult. 3 players for Seattle making runs at the far post. That's Corsi, Winters, and Brooks. Vi and Fishlock also in the vicinity. Right-footed serve towards the far post, towards Winters. Headed high and wide. And the Spirit will breathe a sigh of relief. Pocket this goal kick. Laura Harvey and Mark Parsons, the 2 English coaches in this league, both up off their bench, shouting instructions before this set piece. She saw the header over the top. Weiss chooses to go to the near side this time. Reed win the 50-50 header against Joanna Lohman. And out it goes for a Spirit throw. Reynolds still looking, going up the line for Lohman. Broken up by Vi, and as I said earlier, the throw-in defense for these 2 teams has been really good tonight. It's not something you normally hear discussed, but they've really done a nice job of locking it down. Reed with a bit of a fumble there, and a push against Crystal Dunn, the reason. Free kick for Seattle. Corsi switching it left as Barnes has drifted over there. Cox up the line for her. Instead it comes for Little. Winters in the center, pressured by Dunn. Nearly a turnover there from Seattle, but the Reign recover. Winters chooses to go right this time for Ellie Reed, who will cross midfield on the dribble, dodge the slide from Del Rio, and play it in the middle for Fishlock. Touch from Brooks for herself, tangle there with Oyster, and the whistle goes against Megan Oyster, and Christine Nairn has her hands on her head. She can't believe that free kick, but a great spot for Seattle to try and break this deadlock. Fishlock was just trying to push it forward. It was a really good ball inside. Heavy touch from Brooks, and Oyster just a little awkward there with the challenge. So, Little placing this one just right on the proper blade of grass that she wants. Fishlock also available. Vi too, and as now Fishlock will step off, it'll be Kim Little's show. 5-player wall in front of Kelsey Weiss. Del Rio nearly making it 6, and now she will join the wall. Can Kim Little pick out a patch of net? Nope, into the wall. And cleared by Estelle Johnson partially. Dunn with a good ball into space for Del Rio. One on the opposite side is DaCosta screaming for it, but a good block there from Barnes, who again was in a good position. Fishlock. It's been a good first half despite the lack of goals. Christine Nairns hit the bar. Seattle's had a couple good looks their way as well. Step and win from Church for DaCosta. Gets an appreciative roar from the sellout crowd here at Maureen Hendricks Field at the Maryland SoccerPlex. Oyster goes back to Weiss. Del Rio. Challenge from Fishlock. Won by Fishlock. Winters. Little. On her right foot. Has space to get the shot off. Closed down quickly by Oyster. Comes for Yanez. First time back for Vi. Cuts back on Del Rio. Vi will try the shot, and that was always going on. First NWSL start for the Danish international Katrine Vi, and she's had some good moments here on this near side. Have to think that maybe she was going to start no matter what, but the concussion suffered by Kendall Fletcher that took her out of the Seattle lineup moved Reed back, and so Vi was a logical player to slide into that midfield slot that Reed started in last week. And Reigns 4-2 win over Western New York. That game, incidentally, at the half was just 1-0, so we had 5 goals in the second half of this one. Maybe that's what we'll see tonight as well. Fishlock trying the left-footed shot and into the net support behind Kelsey Weiss. It'll be a goal kick. Kelsey Weiss will take her time. Make sure everybody's exactly where she wants them before hitting this one back into play. Towards Crystal Dunn. Brought down well for Del Rio. Overlapping hard is Reynolds. Laying into space now for Dunn. She'll turn to the Jets and get to this ball. Dunn's first time shot right at Hilly Kottmeyer. Quick roll out to Vi. Back for Reed. I really don't think many players would have run that ball down. When that ball was first, I thought, well, there's no way that the Spirit player will get to that. But then I saw it was Crystal Dunn. I thought, well, okay, she's got a shot. And she got to it. Nice ball right for Ellie Reed off the boot of Fishlock. Reed with space to attack. Vi to her right. She'll play it for her. Marked by Reynolds. Vi cutting inside on her left foot. Tries the shot. Headed by Oyster. Second ball headed by Angela Salem. Still not out of trouble. And Del Rio will pop it up high. And out for a throw-in. Dunn running that ball down. Didn't have a great angle. Hit it left-footed first time, but Kottmeyer in a good position, making the easy save. Kottmeyer playing it out of the back. And we will have no stoppage time at all. So at the half, it's been a good one with the Washington Spirit and Seattle Reign scoreless here at Maureen Hendricks Field. We'll step aside here, get situated for our halftime interview with Amanda Cromwell, and we'll come back with you. You're watching the NWSL on YouTube.
Annie Power, Power. can pick up your prizes at
This is a gifted athlete, and obviously he can play special.
There's definitely been a little ebb and flow to the rhythm. I saw Seattle kind of pushing there at the end, got some corner kicks, but I'm expecting more from the Spirit in the second half.
Is it kind of tough to turn off the coach brain when you're at a game like this?
A little bit. You watch it and you think of ways you might want to break down the other team.
Megan Oyster, of course, played for you. How have you seen her grow over the last couple of years?
Megan's been a tremendous example of what you can do, how far you can go with the right mindset and getting fit and working hard. She really made a transformation while I was at UCLA those 2 years. She's super fit, and you see starting on a pro team now, so you got to give her a lot of credit.
Yeah, gone from not even starting to, like you said, playing every minute of every game so far for Washington.
Right.
Yep. You've got a gold medal. Where do you keep it? How often do you take it out?
Well, you know what? 96 and 95, I was 95 World Cup. We got bronze, and 96 Olympics. It was an awesome experience. I actually was an alternate on that team from after tearing my ACL. So we only got a ring. We didn't get an actual medal because the Olympic Committee only did the top 16.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I wear my ring proudly sometimes.
Well, you know from being part of that 96 team after being a part of 95, how much it means for a team to win a championship after falling just short. Did you think about that a little bit watching the U.S.?
For sure, and especially after falling short 4 years ago against Japan in penalty kicks, you just felt like it was time, and the players had that motivation, and you could tell it. And Carly Lloyd, when she was unleashed, she was a beast out there and did some great things, obviously scoring some really important goals.
You're someone that has also played professionally, played in Washington professionally.
I did.
How cool is it to see there to be a pro league here and to see this kind of scene, a sellout crowd on a beautiful evening?
This crowd is awesome. Driving up here is, the excitement is palpable. There are lines everywhere for all sorts of concessions, and I have my family here. I grew up in Virginia.
Right.
I actually played at RFK Stadium with the Washington Freedom, which was a very cool experience as well because I was a Redskins fan, still am. So going back to those days of playing at RFK was pretty cool.
Played with, of course, the likes of Mia Hamm. Do you think there's a player on this team that kind of brings the same thing that Mia brought to the U.S.? Or you think that she was one of a kind?
On the U.S. team?
Yes.
I look at Carly Lloyd, has that special quality, and the Michelle Akers type of quality, just the right mentality, goal scorer. She's almost like a combination of Michelle and Mia. Just looking at the personalities of both those players. Alex Morgan is a goal scorer. Sydney LaRue now. There's so much talent out there in the U.S. team. It's a really hard decision for Jill to start.
Of course, Jill, your predecessor at UCLA. How special do you think it was for her to reach that pinnacle?
Oh my gosh, I was texting her throughout the World Cup, and I knew early on the team wasn't playing as well as everyone would have liked, and she had a lot of criticism, and she just kept her plan, and I give her a lot of credit for that, and made some changes that made a huge impact, but it means the world to her, and because she really cares about those players and wanted to see them succeed. So Abby going out on top, you see Lauren Holiday is retiring from the U.S. team, and I'm sure a few others will. So it's just a nice swan song for those players.
Here with UCLA head coach Amanda Cromwell, and you mentioned growing up in Virginia in the D.C. area. That's something Jill did as well, and something we asked her when we had her on earlier in the season was, if you would have had something like this, where you could come out to a game and have heroes and see professionals, what would that have meant to you? What do you think that would have changed about how kind of you grew
huge.
up?
You see all the young boys and girls around here, and they have these idols now and people to really emulate. And back when I was playing, we looked at pro tennis players because, you know, the Chris Everts and Martina Navratilova, because that's really what we saw on TV.
Right.
We didn't really have chances to see other female pro athletes at a really high level. So the fact that you get to see that now, and you can, this league is just, I think, going to explode now after even more excitement from the World Cup and supporting women's sports. And I just want to say, keep doing it. Get out to the games. Watch them on YouTube. Hopefully, I know there's a new contract with Fox Sports 1. So that's exciting to me. That's really exciting.
As a college coach, how much do you kind of give this league as a target to say, you know, you can be the next Caprice Didasco or Megan Oyster or Dahl Kemper that can come in and play professionally?
When we have recruiting talks, we ask them, what are your goals? Obviously, a lot of them want to play on the national team, but I think the first step is really the pro league, because that's where a lot of the players are going to be pulled from now, and maybe not directly from college. It's going to be the next step before the national team.
Draft ahead be cool for you, seeing so many of your players get picked up.
Yeah.
Kind of take me through that and what you were doing that day.
I was there. I was at the draft. A few of the players were there, so it was just fun. I wanted to be part of it, and with them, Sarah Killian, Megan, and Caprice's dad was there. So it was just fun to see them all. I think we had 6 in the top 19 and 3 in the top 4. So I think it was an amazing draft for UCLA, and it speaks a lot about the program.
With that, you've got a lot of holes to fill.
Yes.
How is this recruiting class shaped up, and how do you think this team's going to shape up this year?
It's shaping up nicely. I think one of the secrets, or maybe not a secret, last year we were probably the deepest team in the country as well. So we have a lot of players waiting in the wings to fill holes. So I'm very excited for those players. They're going to do a tremendous job. And we have incoming freshmen the next couple of years. 2016 class is number 1 in the country. 17 class is very good. You know, we're working hard. Our assistants are out there and all over Europe this spring. We don't leave any stone unturned.
Recruiting on the back of a 2013 national championship doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Amanda Cromwell, thank you very much for joining me, and enjoy the second half of this game.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Amanda Cromwell as our halftime guest. And here at the break, we've got about 6 minutes before the start of the second half, and the Washington Spirit and Seattle Reign are tied at 0. Stay with us. We'll be back with more here from the Maryland SoccerPlex.
No, just whatever, like, you know, just to get on. I think most people volunteer. Yeah, like people volunteer.
Welcome back to the Maryland SoccerPlex. Michael Minnick here, and thanks again to Amanda Cromwell for being our halftime guest. And glad you can join us on YouTube now, as the stream was fixed in the middle of the first half, and we're glad those issues were resolved. Not much you can do when you can't get online to do a live stream. So glad for your patience, and glad you stayed with us. And it's been a good first half despite the lack of goals. Christine Nairn had the best chance for the Spirit, hitting the crossbar and free kick from about 22 yards out after Rachel Corsi was shown a yellow card. And some good chances also for Seattle, especially off their set pieces, some crosses and some chances inside. Also some decent space for Little and Fishlock to fire some shots from distance as the Spirit subs go through their halftime paces, and Dinah Matheson being warmed up pretty hard. She might make her 2015 debut. But before we get to the second half, let's take you back through the first half and show you some highlights. Beautiful day here at the Plex, and Crystal Dunn very nearly creating something for herself here, but Joanna Lohman whistled offside on that. This is the chance on Christine Nairn. She played a nice ball in and forced a header out by Rachel Corsi, and then Dunn loose again, taking a tumble, drawing the foul, and then Christine Nairn very nearly beating Haley Kottmeyer as the two former Big Ten players matched wits again, and then Lohman unable to put in the rebound. Katrina Vi had a good first half, just unable to find Yanez with that serve. And then I think this is the best look for Seattle. Nice little three-pass, one-touch combination, but Fishlock's shot was blocked. Crystal Dunn got a half chance there that Kottmeyer was well positioned to grab. And that's what took us to this point where we were scoreless at the half. Second half nearly on the way as Ashlyn Harris and Allie Krieger are here, giving waves to the crowd as they take their spots back on the Spirit bench. KJ Spizak, the Spirit reserve coach, coming in with Ashlyn Harris as well. And what a crowd we've had tonight. A sellout here at the Plex. The hill lined with blankets and people seated watching this one. The stands are also full. The concourse is buzzing on what turned out to be an absolutely perfect night for soccer. There was concern of some thunderstorms in the area, but they have dissipated. We've had blue skies the whole way through. And now if the sun goes down, it's cooled off a little bit from the high 80s temperature, and it's been absolutely perfect. Spirit break their huddle, Kansas City, and Houston will be watching this one as they look to move up in the standings. Spirit came in tied with Kansas City on 17 points. Houston just out of the play picture on 13. They'll play Monday. The only game tomorrow, Western New York and Sky Blue FC, as those two teams try and climb back into the playoff race. And just kicking off in Chicago, it's the Breakers and the Red Stars. But this is the first game of the weekend, and it's been a good one despite the lack of goals. Spirit will kick up going from left to right in the blue and red. Seattle in the highlighter green with the purple. No changes at the half, so we'll reset the lineups here for you. It's Weiss, Reynolds, Johnson, Oyster, Church, Salem, Nairn, Lohman, Del Rio, Dunn, and DaCosta for Washington. Kottmeyer, Cox, Barnes, Corsi, Reed, Winters, Brooks, Vi, Yanez, Little, and Fishlock for Seattle. Lauren Barnes will have to watch the back of Rachel Corsi, who got a yellow card in the first half. Christine Nairn, the only Spirit player booked, I believe for dissent is going to be the reason given. I didn't really see any foul on the play where she was shown a yellow. Spirit on attack here, played across, and a touch in from Amanda Acosta. And just 45 seconds into the second half, the Spirit score for the fifth time in the first 15 of the second half. They lead Seattle 1-0. Amanda DaCosta has now scored in 3 out of the last 4 games for Washington. And that one as easy as they come. Really good work here from Del Rio. Got the cross in past Reed. Kottmeyer unable to make the play as Lohman might have gotten a touch through. And that was a easy as you please finish at the near post. The tap in for Amanda DaCosta. DaCosta's third of the year. And for just the 4th time this year, the rain will have to come from behind, but they've done it successfully 2 out of those 3 times, 2 and 1 when conceding first. Spirit, on the other hand, when they've scored first, undefeated. 3 wins, 2 ties. This is Kim Little trying to even the balance for Seattle. Whipping it in towards the far post, but too far for Beverly Yanez, and a goal kick will come the way of Kelsey Weiss. I mentioned earlier the Spirit's 5th goal in the first 15 minutes of the second half. The first 15 minutes of halves have been when they've done most of their damage. They've now scored 9 of their 16 goals in the first 15 minutes of halves. Seattle conceding for just the second time in their first 15 of the second half. They've scored 6. Seattle without Kendall Fletcher today, who sits with a concussion, and in the 3 previous matches that Fletcher has missed in the 2 years she's been with the Reign, they haven't won. A loss and 2 ties. In the hole right now as Oyster possesses for Washington. Nairn flipping it into space for Crystal Dunn. Barnes gets to it first, heads it towards the sideline. Off of Dunn, and it'll be a Seattle throw. The Reign undefeated in their last 9. The Spirit trying to extend the club's record for consecutive home matches undefeated. They've opened this season with 5 without a loss here at the Plex. Looking for a 6th and up 1-0. Little. Marked by Christine Nairn. Shakes Church as well. Little will run it down the inline. Broken up by Church. It'll stay in play for Kim Little. Cutting back on her right foot. Little shot is just over the bar. As Seattle has responded well to falling behind. Little, that's an example of you don't necessarily have to play fast to get in a good position. If you take the right touch, if you pick the right moment, Little really cut back well, and would have been a great save from Kelsey Weiss had she been able to punch that over, but Little's rocket whistles over the bar. Applause here from the crowd. Diana Matheson just about ready to make her 2015 debut for the Spirit. And it'll be the most action she's seen in calendar year 2015 as she returns from the ACL tear suffered late last fall. She played 28 minutes in Canada's last Women's World Cup game, so this will be about 40 for Diana Matheson. Little causing trouble again. Reed for Little again. Stood up by Estelle Johnson, who concedes a corner kick. So Matheson was warming up hard at the half. Mark Parsons waited a couple minutes to make the move, but now Matheson's at the 4th official and waiting for the signal to come into this one. Spirit will have to deal with a corner kick here from Stephanie Cox, who hit a really nice hard ball in the last time she tried a corner in the first half. High ball towards Corsi at the far post, over her and Whitney Church both. It'll be the Captain Winters keeping it alive for Seattle and finding Katrine Vi. Back for Winters. Right-footed cross. Who got the last piece of that one? It was Joanna Lohman, and it will be a corner for Seattle again from the far side, and again it'll be Stephanie Cox to take. The serve from Cox, headed by Brooks and well wide. And here we go in the 52nd minute. Diana Matheson returns to the Maryland SoccerPlex. And the goal scorer, Amanda DaCosta, will make way. And I thought DaCosta might be the player to make way just because she's had to work so hard offensively and defensively. And a big smile from DaCosta as she passed Matheson on the back. And the Canadians in. Spirit's all-time leading scorer with 16 goals. Also their all-time assist leader with 9. And as I mentioned in pregame, she's killed Seattle. 5 goals and 1 assist in 7 all-time meetings with the Reign. Through now for Dunn. Spirit looking for a second. Cox in support. Dunn takes a tumble shot, is blocked. Great save from Kottmeyer. Cox did just enough, I think, to throw off Dunn's balance, not allow that shot to be where she wanted it, and Kottmeyer made a good save. Sun is set, and the goal is on the board, and this game has really opened up now. Vi. Winters dodging 2 tackles from Matheson and Lohman. It comes back for Corsi. Flicked by Fishlock. Reports from the Spirits training this week from Jennifer Gordon at Equalizer said that Matheson looked great in training. See how she does today. Dunn tried to go side of the right foot and just place it past Kottmeyer, but the Michigan goalkeeper made herself big. Good save. With Hope Solo coming back, you figure Kottmeyer is going to be dropped to the bench, but she has unquestionably increased her value. She's played very well in goal for Seattle during this World Cup hiatus. Came in with a goals against average of 1 on the dot and hadn't lost as a starter this year. Matheson's first meaningful touch. It's the play it through for Crystal Dunn. Dunn just beaten to that ball by Haley Kottmeyer. I tell you what, when the Spirit get Matheson fit and get Francisco Ortega back, that is going to be a lot of speed running at the other 8 teams in the league. Yanez in the center circle for Fishlock. Reed lets it go. Vi laying it off behind the run of Kim Little. Tangle here, and Matheson with some good footwork after stumbling to win that ball. Nairn. And a late foul there against Amber Brooks, who helps Christine Nairn to her feet. And a free kick for the Spirit. Really nice diagonal ball from Matheson, just quite on the mark for Crystal Dunn's run, but the idea there was pretty simple, and they'll try it again here. This time Barnes, though, in a better position. Will touch it back to Kottmeyer, and she'll clear it left-footed forward. Lohman tried to head it down for Matheson, but it's stolen by Vi. Of course, the last time the Matheson played for the Spirit was against Seattle in the playoffs last year. 2-1 loss for Washington that allowed Seattle to move to the NWSL Championship game, but their undefeated record at Memorial Stadium continued because that game was played at Starfire Stadium. So a little bit of a quirk there as the Reign had to go back to their home field from year 1 and were unable to get by Amy Rodriguez's finishing prowess, and FC Kansas City hoisted the trophy last year. Oyster. Back again for Kelsey Weiss. Reynolds goes up the line, hoping that Dunn would make the run, but she didn't. Meyer will have no trouble coming out of her 18 and bringing it into the box, and now she'll look for options with her feet. You can tell that she's someone that's very comfortable playing with her feet, Haley Kottmeyer. Not every goalkeeper feels that comfortable with the ball. Yanez through for Little, marked by Estelle Johnson, and Johnson will get a piece of that, I believe. No, they're actually going to say that was a goal kick. Got through cleanly from Kim Little, and Spirit will have a goal kick. Seattle's rated their first change. It's Merritt Mathias. She's at the 4th official now. And it looks like Katrine Vi's number is the one that's going to come up for the Reign when the moment comes. Mathias has been a starter more often than not. This will actually be her first appearance as a sub after making 9 starts. She missed that last week with a shoulder bruise. Had Ellie Reed take her spot on the outside of midfield. Oyster tracking that one, and Brooks will not force her to play that one in a roll up for a goal kick. We'll see the change now. The 25-year-old from Birmingham, Alabama, Merritt Mathias, replacing Katrine Vi, who put in 57 minutes in her first NWSL start. Matthias has done well against the Spirit. Had a goal and an assist in the first meeting this year. Also had an assist against the Spirit in 2013 when playing for FC Kansas City. So you have to figure that maybe that injury is the reason why she didn't play from the beginning today, since she had so much success the last time out against Washington. Salem knocking that one out of play. Tori Huster has started to make some movements by the Spirit bench. She might be the second change tonight for Mark Parsons. And rare to see Tori come off the bench, as usually she's the starter that goes 90 minutes, but Mark Parsons rotating the squad tonight. Tori available as a reserve rather than as a starter. Little. Laid off by Brooks. Little into the 18. Beautiful ball for Matthias, but broken up by the captain Nairn. Little will try again. Ship is deflected and will be handled by Kelsey Weisses. I believe that was Church that got a piece of that. And Nairn shaken up on that tackle will now be tended to. And a way for the trainer to come in and look at Christine Nairn, and I believe that was sustained in the block there of the shot. So that change for Washington may come earlier than Mark Parsons would have liked. As Tori Huster standing hands on her hips by the bench, getting some final stretching in. Here's the challenge from Nairn that you can definitely see she started to limp after that, hands on her knees, and that is not a player the Spirit can afford to lose, Christine Nairn. I thought she's been very fantastic tonight. Hit the crossbar in the first half, did Nairn. Had a couple good services on corners as well. The second half's been more about defending after the Spirit took the lead 45 seconds into the second half on Amanda DaCosta's tap in. After Lara Del Rio had earned the end line, played a good cross in across the face, and DaCosta was waiting with open feet to tap it in. So after not getting any stoppage time in the first half, we'll definitely have some here in the second. Parsons having a word with Christine Nairn now, saying, "Are you good to go?" Looks like Nairn said yes. She's walking back towards the fourth official. And as Weiss brings it out of her own 18, Christine Nairn will be waved back on. So good to see that Nairn's not too much the worse for wear after that block. She'll be called into work now as the rain possesses. They've been able to get a little bit more of the ball in the last few minutes since conceding. Of course, he's chipped forward, brought down by Yanez. Brooks dodging Lohman, but help there from Salem helps win the ball. Now it's Church, Nairn, Lohman. Diana Matheson, who came on just after the half for Amanda DaCosta. Fishlock with the steal there. Rain will restart through Little. Switch left for Merritt Matthias, the other second half sub. Marked by Whitney Church, and Church gets a foot in to knock it out for a throw. Church thought it should have been her ball, but refereeing crew disagrees, and Stephanie Cox will be the player instead to toss it in. Nairn gets a foot in to win it for Dunn. Lyncher's challenge, and it was deflected on the way through, and Christine Nairn again not happy with Chris Spivey in the middle as the throw goes Seattle's way. Nairn gets a chunk of that one. Second ball handled by Dunn, and she gets tangled up with, and Keelan Winters with a smile pleads her case, but she pretty much knew that was going to be a whistle against her. Free kick for the Spirit. Tennis just announced tonight of 5,413. A sold-out crowd here at the Maryland SoccerPlex. As Washington started this important 3-game homestand against Seattle, Chicago, and Houston. Through for Matthias and Weiss off the line. So you've got the two co-leaders coming into this week, Seattle and Chicago back-to-back. And then Houston's been very good. And it goes without saying that adding Carly Lloyd, Morgan Bryan, and Megan Klingenberg is going to help a team be a little bit better. Not to mention Aaron McLeod in goal. Houston certainly is a team that can make a second-half run and make playoffs in year 2 of their franchise's existence. Trying to take a page out of the playbook that these two teams followed last year, going from 7th in Seattle's case and 8th in Washington's case to 1st and 4th in playoff spots last year. And again, it helps when you get the number 1 pick. Crystal Dunn obviously has been fantastic for the Spirit, an MVP candidate, and Morgan Bryan I think will make the same kind of impact as the number 1 overall pick for Houston this year. Yanez, we're looking for Matthias, but not in the right channel, and Church will work for Oyster and now for Estelle Johnson. Tori Huster's handing her card in. She'll be the second change for Mark Parsons here midway through the second half. And Tori's played everywhere this year. She's played center mid, she's played center back, she's played outside back, so really she could go in for just about anybody in this situation. Lohman battling Fishlock. And the foul goes against Josh Fishlock, and the Spirit will have a set piece here. It's like the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed to the satisfaction of the 4th official as Huster waits. Dunn at the top of the 18. On her right foot. Dunn's shot is blocked. Second chance for Matheson. Fishlock gets a foot in. Now Cox has to do the hard lifting. Plays it off of Matheson up the line for Matthias. And blocked by Nairn. Spirit lead on Amanda DaCosta's 3rd goal of the year. 45 seconds after the halftime break. Challenge there from Del Rio, and Chris Spivey already has the yellow out of the pocket. And with Keelan Winters in pain right now, Laura Del Rio is going to see it. Second Spirit player to be booked, joining Christine Nairn and Chris Spivey's book. And Angela Salem's number is up. Winters back on her feet, walking gingerly towards midfield as the Spirit make the change. And more of appreciation for Tori Huster as she comes on. So as I mentioned earlier, a good bench for Mark Parsons when you can bring on the franchise's all-time leading scorer in Matheson, and then the franchise's all-time leader in minutes in games in Tori Huster. Rain restart with the ball on the right side. Up the line it comes from Corsi. Played now for Reed, who's taking a more advanced position. Now it's Little pulling the strings again. Goes right this time for Reed. Inside the box. Brooks dummies it, and Johnson will clean up. Lauren Barnes looking left. Playing it short off the mark for Fishlock as Spivey got in the way a little bit and allowed Huster to win the ball. Fishlock, though, regroups for Seattle. Goes right. Charge forward from Little. Cleared again by the Spirit. Matthias off the throw. Inside for Little in a dangerous position. Plays it back looking for Brooks. Now Fishlock at the top of the 18. Fishlock's shot is just wide. Kelsey Weiss was frozen, hoping that that would go wide. And sure enough it did, but the Welsh Wizard nearly pulled another one out with her wand and tied it at 1-1. Two on one. Brooks and Matthias combined to win the header against Huster, but Torrey wins it back for Nairn. Seattle has been shut out twice this year. The 1-0 loss at FC Kansas City, that was the last loss before this 9-game unbeaten streak. And then a scoreless tie over Memorial Day weekend against Chicago at home. Otherwise, this has been a very tough team to pin down. 24 goals for Seattle to lead the league. Matheson with space to run. Dunn to her left. Matheson turning on the Jets, looking for help. Marked by Cox, lays it off for Dunn. Dunn back on her left foot. Dunn in the box. Dunn takes the shot and buries it in the corner. Crystal Dunn, crazy 8. Her 8th goal of the year. And welcome back to Anna Matheson. That was a beautiful setup to get the assist. Good layout from Matheson. Dunn getting an angle on Ellie Reed. And a perfect finish, left-footed, to extend the league lead. Spirits, undefeated run at home, looking safer now with the 2-0 lead. But as I said, this is the highest scoring team in the league in Seattle. They have 20 minutes plus stoppage time to get 2 back, and they're capable certainly of doing so. So, 46th minute for DaCosta, 69th minute for Dunn. Spirits, second half home magic, carrying over to this one. Fishlock. Matthias inside, great turn from Little, laying it into space and just past the run of Fishlock as Oyster was in a good position to check that run and allow Weiss to come off her line. Cox following it high into the night sky towards Yanez. Oyster gets a foot in. Matthias picks up the second ball for Seattle. Huster gets a foot in, and Johnson will clear. So down 2, expect Seattle's outside backs, Cox and Reed, who've already been very active, to push forward even more and try and serve balls into that central group: Little, Fishlock, Yanez, Brooks. Good shape here from the Spirit, though, to not really allow Seattle any good options, as Barnes has to go back again to Kottmeyer. Late whistle here and a foul against the Spirit. Free kick for Seattle as Spivey waited to see if advantage would develop, and it didn't. Seattle down by 2 for the first time this year. Trying to get one back. Really good defending there from Catherine Reynolds, but does give the corner away to Kim Little in the rain here in the 72nd minute. Haley Rasso at the 4th official. Now she'll be the 3rd change and final change for Mark Parsons tonight, the Australian. Corner's a good one towards Winters headed it back across the face. Getting a piece of it is Frischlock and cleared off the line by Christine Nairn. Seattle not done. Winters falling it down for herself, but Church cleans up. And we'll see Haley Rasso now. Home debut for the Australians, second overall appearance. And it'll be Laura Del Rio making way. Here's that corner again. Really good job there by Winters to rise over Lohman, and then Fishlock never really got a clean look at that one. Rasso with the red spirit colored bow in her hair steps on. Just 20 years old from Brisbane, Australia. Another one of these young finds that Mark Parsons has brought in. They all seem to have speed. They all seem to have some skill. Spirit will have Francisco Ortega back next week. Speaking of young players with skill who have made an impact. Flick from Little for Cox. Little marked by Huster and Lohman. Takes a fall but does not get the whistle. Winters heading it for Cox is Little still a bit slow to get up. Spirit will counter through Rasso. Nice 1-2 between her and Crystal Dunn. The Aussies on the move and a tackle from Fishlock. Advantage given. Dunn for Matheson, and Matheson's offside. But as I said earlier, when this team is at full strength, there is going to be so much speed in that Washington attack. Going to be fun to watch. How about that combination between Rasso and Dunn, who can't have had more than 2 or 3 weeks of practice together, but the chemistry is already there. Danielle Foxhoven getting instructions on the Seattle bench. Looks like she'll be Laura Harvey's second change of the night. Makes sense, bring a forward on. Down 2 goals. DaCosta and Dunn on the board for Washington tonight. Both goals coming after a scoreless first half. Matthias. Fishlock. Broken up by Johnson. She'll get it back again from Tori Huster and just dump it deep. Here's the Scotswoman Corsi knocking it forward. Volleyed by Reynolds and out for a throw. Foxhoven's ready to go. But Seattle's going to play on and not let that sub happen. Little in the box, cutting it back. Reynolds gets a piece of it to clear, and again, Little on the ground in frustration, just a touch off from making something happen. It'll be Amber Brooks making way, so this is a forward for a defensive mid. Definitely an attacking change from Laura Harvey. Foxhoven has appeared in every game now for Seattle, all 12. And she's scored 3 of her career WSO goals as a second half sub. So someone that can excel in this role. Laura Harvey hoping she can do it tonight. Matheson takes the tumble, draws the foul on Kim Little. Curious to see how much rust there will be with Diana Matheson, just her second game back after ACL injury. Featured for Canada late in that quarterfinal loss to England at the Women's World Cup, and now tonight. So she's looked good. She's looked like Diana Matheson. Fast, aggressive, creative. Assisted on the second goal by Crystal Dunn tonight. On the ball now is Matheson playing it back for Lohman. And volleyed out by Keelan Winters. Dunn gets by Fishlock. Rasso wants it in space, but the pass is off the mark. Barnes will find the feet of Foxhoven. Matthias takes a bump there, and Oyster pleads her case to no avail, and Spivey will award a set piece to Seattle here in the 77th minute. Stephanie Cox. Danielle Foxhoven. Can't shake Church and goes back to Fishlock. Corsi goes right. Reed, touch inside from Matthias. Left-footed serve from Reed in, deflected by Nairn. And just out of the path of Foxhoven. Kelsey Weiss keeping the shutout intact with an easy save there. Dunn fighting for that one, finding Lohman, getting it back. Church. Rasso for Lohman. Matheson wants it far post. Great serve to Matheson. Volley for Matheson right at Kopmeyer. What a beautiful build-up there from Washington, but Kopmeyer equal to the task. Matheson was calling for it, and the cross was beautiful. The shot was good too, but Kopmeyer in a good position. Goal kick the other way. Lohman with a really good ball. Perfect technique from Matheson, but just right at the goalkeeper. And again, Lohman and Matheson have never played together. The chemistry has been good, which is something you need when you're bringing players in from different levels. And Matheson's going back from a World Cup, and Lohman's been here all year. Pieces have to fit together, and so far they really have. 2-0. Yanez. Winters. Ellie Reed up the line. Gets it back. Again, the Spirit shape is good defensively. Not an easy pass available, forcing the switch all the way left for Stephanie Cox. Good first touch from Cox. Second ball is not bad either, but off the mark for Matthias, and a goal kick will come the Spirit's way. Cox heading it into space. Wister back for it. Will knock it out once again. Foxhoven. Winters. Fishlock having to chase it down, will do so. Right for Reed. Inside for Little. Through now for Fishlock. And just off the mark. Reynolds did well with her body to not allow Fishlock to get a clean run at that one. Lohman beaten to that ball by Yanez. Knocked up the line by Reed. Little turning inside. Tori Huster's had that responsibility since coming on, and she's done a nice job. Flick up the line. Reynolds battling for it against Matthias. It'll be Reynolds getting to it first, and only options to knock it out for a throw. And she was pleading her case for a foul, but referee said contact was pretty even between the two, and they just let it go. Unfortunate deflection there from Christine Nairn on the attempted clearance, and Seattle will get a corner kick here in the 82nd minute. Time running out for the Reign to make a run in this one. Down 2 goals. DaCosta in the 46th. Dunn about 15 minutes later. Spirit's two top goal scorers adding to their tallies this year. Dunn adding to her league lead with their 8th. Left-footed serve in towards Winters, but blocked by Lohman. Second chance now for Cox. Another good ball towards the far post. Reed's header is right at Kelsey Weiss. Correction, that was Yanez with the header. Seattle's top scorer has had a relatively quiet night by her standards this year. Nairn. Matheson with space. Dunn to her right. Rasso to her left. She picks out Crystal Dunn against Cox. Cutting back. Deflected and blocked. Second chance out for Matheson. And they're going to point to the spot. A penalty kick for Washington as Dunn was tripped up by the combination of Cox and Winters. Diana Matheson has it in her hands, but she's going to say, Christine Nairn, this is yours. Dunn with that patented cutback move, and Cox was the culprit. Not worth a card, but worth a penalty kick, and Christine Nairn can try and put the icing on the cake. Penn State against Michigan. Nairn against Kottmeyer. Nairn's PK is in, and Washington leads 3-0 in the 83rd minute as Christine Nairn scores her 5th of the season. Dunn drew it, and Nairn finished it. Kottmeyer might have got a piece of that ball. It was hit low to her right, but Nairn put enough mustard on it that it got underneath the diving Seattle goalkeeper. And the Maryland SoccerPlex continues to be a house of horrors for the Seattle Reign, as it looks like they're going to fall to 0-2-1 here in Boyd's, Maryland. I can't imagine as many venues really have such a bad record after dominating and winning the Supporters Shield last year and entering this match in a tie for first place. What a result this will be for the Spirit. Playoff revenge for last year. Dunn somehow finding the feet of Whitney Church, and it comes from Matheson again. Not surprisingly, Matheson's been a great spark since coming on the 50th minute for Washington. Among other things, she gives them somebody else to worry about with pace besides just Crystal Dunn. And that's allowed Dunn to be a little bit more one-on-one. She scored a goal, and she's drawn a PK to set up another. And again, I'll say it, Seattle really misses Kendall Fletcher tonight. If this result holds, they'll be 0-2-2 without Fletcher the last 2 years. They're 23-4-7 when she does play. So that tells you the value of Kendall Fletcher to Laura Harvey's club out of the concussion tonight. And it's not that Seattle's played badly as Fishlock gets a look here. Broken up by Nairn. Little playing it in by Matthias, and somehow Foxhoven unable to get that one on frame. Just took a bad skip out the former Portland Pilots boot. And Kelsey Weiss's shutter is intact. Like I was just saying, it's not like the Seattle's played badly. Washington's just finished their chances and finished them well. And Seattle's really been unable to get a good shot on goal against Kelsey Weiss, and that's a credit to this back four. And by the way, Allie Krieger's coming back to help them. Stephanie Cox, marked by Diana Matheson. Really good battle here, and Matheson finally gets a sliding tackle in to knock it out for a throw-in. Yanez. Stolen by Huster. Dunn turning the corner and playing into space for Rasso. Rasso against Corsi. Fishlock coming back to help defensively. Really great work there from Jess Fishlock. Coming all the way back in the 87th minute. Looking as fresh as the first to win that ball with Haley Rasso. Little for Foxhoven. Seattle trying to get a consolation goal. Just behind Matthias. Really good possession here from the Spirit. Rasso going to work again. Dunn in support. Corsi marking. Comes centrally for Dunn. Making the run right is Matheson. Dunn will dump it into space for her. And Matheson, just like she did to set up the winning goal against Chicago, sliding on the sideline to keep it in play, but this time she couldn't quite do it. I think that play against the against the Red Stars last year might have been, if I had to pick one Diane Matheson highlight, that would be the one I would pick. Making this 20, 30-yard sprint to slide, keep the ball in play, keep the attack going, and it ends with Yael Averbush hitting a rocket into the corner. And that was a goal that got the Spirit in the playoffs, bottom line, last year. Seattle's putting numbers forward as Winters is playing as a center back to allow Barnes to get a little bit more forward, get her height involved. Fishlock, Foxhoven, Little. Doubled back under the mark of Nairn. Fishlock will charge again. Cross is deflected, headed by Oyster. Over the head of Nairn. Rasso, who's had a good shift as well as the second half sub, playing it back for Lohman. Dunn. Wins the throw-in. Joanna Lohman. Estelle Johnson back again for Lohman. Again, the Spirit is just content to keep the ball here. Up 3 goals, just make absolutely sure you can get out of here, and I'm sure that back four and Kelsey Weiss will take it as a point of pride if they can put up a clean sheet against Seattle's league-leading offense. Matheson with some good work there against Mathias to keep possession for Church. You have to wonder if a fully fit Diana Matheson, as Huster's slide switches off the mark and Reynolds wins it down. You have to wonder if a fully fit Diana Matheson would have pushed Canada farther than the quarterfinals. They struggled at times to score goals. They struggled at times to create goals. She's somebody that can do both of those things. But she wasn't available until the quarterfinal, where she came on as a sub and lost to England, and unable to make as much of an impact as she would have hoped in a World Cup in her home nation, but she's been fantastic again for Washington. Replay of the foul there on Yanez. Fourth officials put the board up. We'll have 3 minutes of stoppage time, which we're into right now. 3 also the number that the Spirit are happiest to see. That's the one on the scoreboard. 3-0, they lead, league-leading Seattle. Church able to keep that one alive. Mark Parsons, his hands on his head. I'm not sure if he was trying to protect himself or he was disappointed that Church couldn't keep that one in touch. Dunn, so quick with her feet, fighting Huster. Now it's Lohman. Broken up by Barnes and out for a Seattle throw, which Barnes will look to take quickly. Back to Rachel Corsi. Reed. Credit to the Spirit as well. I mentioned earlier in this game the disappointment of a 3-0 loss at FC Kansas City 2 weeks ago. The bye week has come at a good time. They've returned refreshed, and they've looked fantastic. And they've flipped that result on their head. They lead 3-0 against Seattle. Fishlock. Winters. Yanez. Shot from Yanez is just wide. Weiss diving for it. Happily watch it go wide and take the goal kick for her trouble. Midway through the 3 minutes of stoppage time here, the Spirit trying to close out a 3-0 win. Presenting sponsor of tonight's match, Coons of Silver Spring, the official automobile partner of the Washington Spirit, and they picked a good match to sponsor. Maybe the best performance I've seen the Spirit put in. Whistle here and a foul against Merritt Mathias as she came over the back of Joanna Lohman. Be interesting after the match to hear Diana Matheson, Christine Nairn's comments about that penalty kick situation, because Matheson's been the go-to for the Spirit for the last 2 years. She's only been stopped once, but she clearly in this situation had the ball in her hands, handed it to Christine Nairn and said, "It's your turn." And Nairn made no mistake to make it 3-0. Matheson going to work now, trying to get one on her own. Inside for Lohman. Back again for Matheson. Good first touch for Matheson, but just a little too far in front. And that allows Kottmeyer to come get it. Since the end of April, the question around the league has been, who will stop the rain? The answer tonight, the Washington Spirit, as they come and defeat the league leaders 3-0 on goals from Amanda DaCosta, Crystal Dunn, and Christine Nairn. Really good performance in front of a capacity crowd here at Maury Hendricks Field and the Maryland SoccerPlex. Spirit extend their perfect record at home. They're now 6-0-1 here at the Plex, with 2 more big home matches against Chicago and Houston on the way. Seattle's 9-game unbeaten streak comes to an end, and now they'll wait on the other result tonight, Chicago and Boston, to see if they can hang on to first place, as those 2 teams, Chicago and Seattle, both came out on 21 points. The Spirit are now just 1 off the pace. They've accumulated 20 points now to Chicago and Seattle's 21. FC Kansas City, who plays Monday, the other team in the playoff picture right now, they have 17 points. So we thank you very much for bearing with us today, as technical difficulties prevented you from seeing the beginning of this game, but you got to see the part that mattered. You got to see the part with the 3 goals, and we hope it's well worth it for you. And we'll have the full match online for you later. We'll also have the pre-game ceremonies hosted by Lori Lindsay that feature the recognition of the World Cup players for the Spirit, and remarks from Allie Krieger as well to the capacity crowd here at the Plex. Is good night all around for Washington Spirit fans, the players, the coaches, the staff, everybody. And as I said, maybe the best performance I've seen this team put in on this field. Let's show you the highlights of this one. Spirit were able to create some good things early as DaCosta's cross was knocked in to make it 1-0. That was just 45 seconds into the second half. Rain countered as Kim Little found some space, some real estate, cut back well in Nairn. Had her shot go just high over Kelsey Weiss's goal. Then it was Crystal Dunn doing what Crystal Dunn does. Getting in the box, causing trouble, forcing a good save from Haley Kottmeyer. This time, though, Kottmeyer not up to the task. Good ball from Matheson, and Dunn able to run onto that one. Fishlock shot from deep, just wide of Weiss's goal, as she had some good moments as well. Crystal Dunn here, shaking Reed, and a perfect finish with the left foot of Crystal Dunn, her 8th of the year. Good chance here for Fishlock and Yanez as well, forcing a clearance from the captain Nairn on the line. And then what a combination from Rasso and Dunn. Play on was given despite the foul on Rasso. And just off the mark for Matheson and Dunn. Thought Joanna Lohman had a really good match tonight, and maybe her best moment, the perfect cross volleyed by Diana Matheson. Crystal Dunn drawing the penalty kick. Christine Nairn finishing the penalty kick to make it 3-0. Then it was Lohman and Matheson combining again, but Canadian unable to find the end of that one. And that second half, as I said, as good as the Spirit has played all year. So goals from DaCosta, from Dunn, from Nairn from the penalty spot. The difference tonight, the Spirit moved to 6-4-2, 20 points now on the year. The Rainfall to 6-3-3. Their 9-game unbeaten streak goes down by the wayside. They have 21 points. Next up for the Spirit, as I mentioned, a big match against league leaders Chicago. Tickets still remaining for that one, but not many. Next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. For Seattle, a midweek match at rival Portland, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. local time, and then they'll play the Thorns again next Sunday, this time in Seattle at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, once again, the final score from the Maryland SoccerPlex, the Washington Spirit 3 and the Seattle Reign 0. I'm Michael Minnick saying thank you for bearing with us, and big thanks to our production team, our camera people, and everyone involved here with this broadcast. Have a good night.